Hey there and welcome back to XCOM. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our XCOM Enemy Within Ironman Impossible walkthrough. In the last episode we assaulted the Overseer UFO and recovered the Ethereal Device, and we were also able to capture an Ethereal, a very powerful psionically gifted enemy. Now today we have plenty of things to take care of and we will very likely unlock multiple achievements in the process, one of which is actually right around the corner. Since we captured both a Muton Elite and an Ethereal last episode, we can now perform 2 interrogations, and we'll start with the Muton. Okay, so this grants us the Weapons Technology Research credit. Pretty pointless as we have already researched all weapons in the game, but you know, for the sake of completion and all that. Up next, we now have the Ethereal to interrogate, so let's watch another cutscene real quick. And there we are, that is every interrogation in the game completed, for which there is unfortunately no achievement, but there is one for completing every autopsy, and since the Ethereal did not survive the previous procedure, we can now at least unlock that.
This specimen appears to be at the top of the alien hierarchy, and for good reason. As you've probably seen, its physical form is not suited for combat by any means. However, these elders have an incredible pool of psionic energy at their disposal, which helps to explain why the other species are subordinate to them.
And here we go, that is the All Employees Must Wash Hands achievement unlocked. The autopsy has also unlocked the secrets of the Mind Shield, a piece of equipment that is incredibly useful for psionic soldiers as it boosts their will by a whopping 30 points. The game states its main purpose as protection against psionic attacks, but as you can imagine, with a bonus like that, it also has its uses for psionic attackers themselves. Another Ethereal corpse is needed to make one though, so one more UFO mission will have to take place first. In the meantime, we can start working on the Ethereal Device, which is necessary to further the game's main storyline, and perhaps allows us to eventually make contact with whoever leads the alien invasion.
I accept the fact that there could be risks involved in studying this new alien device, but the enemy leaves us with no other choice.
Now, at this point, we can also perform a few gene modifications in anticipation of yet another achievement. What we want to do here is give Kim, Luisa and Michelle the neural feedback gene mod, which deals damage whenever someone is psionically attacking them. There is an achievement for killing an enemy this way, and of course the more people we have with that modification, the easier that achievement will be to unlock.
Thank you, Commander. I'll have the volunteer prepped and ready for surgery shortly. I'll send word when the procedure is complete. Excellent. We'll begin prepping the candidate for surgery immediately. I will notify you when the genetic modification process is completed.
We will also take a small risk here and perform 2 more psionic tests simultaneously, namely with Andrea and Emilia. Now, we've already had 7 missions this month, so it is somewhat unlikely that another one appears, which might give us enough time to perform these tests without having to skip a mission. The reason why we're doing this is the Lone Wolf achievement, for which we need to clear a UFO crash site with 1 single soldier, and generally speaking, having psionic abilities makes that much easier. Since we also want one of Andrea and Emilia to take part in every mission of the game, they are the only candidates for this achievement, so even though their chances are very slim, we are testing them anyway, just on the off chance one of them is psionically gifted after all. But if neither one is, and that is my expectation at the moment, then of course we have a plan B. For now though, let's not dive too deep into the details. We have done all we can for now, so at this point we can finally start scanning. Not for long though, because the Advanced Flight Foundry project is now complete, and we do want to start another one.
We're coming down to the wire here. Now that we've backed the aliens into a corner, I think we'll see what they're really made of. Personally, I expect nothing short of pure desperation in their resistance. They've invested too much to go down without a fight.
And after another of Dr. Shen's monologues, we can now focus on the Advanced Repair project, which improves the repair times of damaged shivs and interceptors. The latter are of course no longer part of our strategy at this point in the game, and we're also not really going to use shivs a lot, so this is very much a filler project, if you will. Once again, just something to complete for the sake of completion.
The foundry is already warmed up. I'll make sure to notify you as soon as production is finished.
Things are getting a little more interesting now with the completion of the Ethereal Device research project, which unlocks the one last facility in the game that we have not yet built, the Gollop Chamber. This chamber will allow one of our psionically gifted soldiers to access the ethereal psychic net, so in essence attempt to make contact with the aliens. For now, we are going to hold off on building the facility, however, since it has a rather high upkeep cost, and we won't need it for a while, as we continue to chase achievements for at least a few more in-game weeks, maybe even months. What we can do though is research Psi Armor, an armor suit that further improves its wearer's psionic abilities by boosting their will stat. The armor itself is also pretty powerful for a medium-tier armor, and this research project here actually marks the final one in the entire game. So let's go to work, then start scanning, and if there are no interruptions, we should unlock the next achievement in just a second. And indeed, here we are, Psi Armor has been researched and the Edison achievement has been unlocked. That means our scientists are officially out of business. We have successfully completed every single research project in the game. Now, the Psi Armor itself is described here as XCOM's most powerful armored suit, but that is somewhat misleading. Yes, it might be the most technologically advanced suit, but in terms of raw protection, other suits are definitely better. Still, for psionically gifted soldiers, especially those who like to mind control and/or squad leaders, this armor is absolutely perfect, as it gives a +20 will bonus. So combine that with the mind shield and you have yourself a pretty powerful Psi operative, exactly what we want a net to eventually become. Now, time to go for another achievement here, as Kim, Luisa and Michelle complete their gene modifications. Except for Luisa, we won't perform any further procedures for now, but with Sharky Sentosa we are now going for one more. As you can see, this will give her the maximum of 5 gene mods, and for number 5 we are going with adaptive bone marrow. That's the cheaper of the two, and muscle fiber density is not really needed, since Luisa will be able to use a grappling hook until the end of the game.
Thank you, Commander. I'll have the volunteer prepped and ready for surgery shortly. I'll send word when the procedure is complete.
So, this will take 3 more days. Let's keep scanning in the meantime. Here we go, our advanced repair project is finished, but like I said, that won't be too noticeable of an upgrade. We also won't start any new foundry projects for now, at least until we have a bit more certainty regarding the future of Andrea and Emilia.
Incoming transmission.
We are extremely impressed with the progress of the XCOM project thus far, Commander. Your recent results were beyond our expectations, and that is not a statement this council makes lightly.
So, another month in the books, another A grade for our efforts and a big pile of cash to reward us, but we have a few more purchases to make, so the money is definitely useful. Other than that, we have now made it to the month of October, and just in case it hasn't become clear yet, the end of the game is fast approaching.
Remember, we will be watching.
Now, at this point, we have to hope that we don't have another mission appear until Andrea and Emilia are done with their psi testing, which should take roughly 4 more days, so the risk is somewhat calculated, but it's definitely there. First of all, though, we unlock yet another achievement, as Sharky Sentosa finishes her 5th and final gene modification. As you can see, her brain, eyes, chest, skin and legs are now all genetically modified, and so we unlock the Enemy Within achievement. Up next, we are now anxiously awaiting the results of our psionic tests, provided nothing else happens in the meantime. Okay, the results are in. Let's see if we got lucky. Well, that looks like I had expected, to be honest. Neither Emilia nor Andrea are psionically gifted, which means we now have to proceed with Plan B, which takes us over to engineering.
The new engineers arrived this morning, Commander. We're always glad to have more help down here.
Just real quick, we can also see here that we're just one engineer away from having 80, which unlocks another achievement, but that's not what we're here for. Instead, we will now augment Andrea and turn her into a MEC Trooper, because without psionic abilities, I think that gives her the best chance to clear a UFO crash site all by herself. Her class background as a heavy also gives her the body shield ability, causing a -20 aim penalty and crit immunity against the nearest visible enemy, which should improve Andrea's chances.
Once the required amputations have been completed, the engineering team will begin grafting the cybersuit interfaces onto the volunteer's remaining bone structure. We need to start working on the housing for this device as soon as possible. Considering what we went through to get it, we should be making every effort to provide a secure location for its storage.
And since we're going for the MEC strategy, we can now also ignore Dr. Shen urging us to build the Gollop Chamber and then head into the foundry and grab the MEC Close Combat upgrade. Andrea will use the Kinetic Strike module to dish out close-range punishment, and this upgrade drastically improves the damage output to a point where she can one-hit kill most medium-tier enemies in the game.
We're certainly keeping the boys down in the foundry busy. I'll let them know you've got another project ready for production.
The overall MEC transformation process will now take 3 days, so once again we're hoping that no mission pops up in the meantime, otherwise we might have to sit one out. At least the foundry project is completed without interruption though, so let's keep scanning and see if that remains the case. And that it does, Andrea Cook is now officially a MEC Trooper. And with that, we are on our path to what is already the 4th achievement in today's episode, because we are building her a brand new suit of armor of the highest level. If you remember, the one we already have belongs to Nicholas, but it has the wrong equipment, so let's start from scratch. And like I said, one of Andrea's trademarks going forward will be the Kinetic Strike module, in my opinion one of the most fun weapons in the entire game, and it also boosts her mobility a bit, which is always nice to have. Now for the second ability, we can choose between the Grenade Launcher and Restorative Mist, and we're going with the healing option here to increase Andrea's survivability. Without the need to complete the Lone Wolf mission with her, I would probably go for the Grenade Launcher, but we need all the hit points we can get if we wanted to survive a mission all by herself. Finally then, we can equip her either with a Proximity Mine Launcher, a device that places explosive charges that trigger when an enemy gets too close, or with the Electropulse, an electric device that does damage in a certain radius and also stuns robotic enemies for 1 turn. And that is also what we're going with. The stun is vital to our strategy with her, as we are ideally aiming for a UFO that has a mechtoid or something similar on board. Now, to complete the loadout, we also need to buy Andrea the incredibly powerful Particle Cannon, which is actually the gun with the highest raw damage output in the game. On critical hits, it even surpasses the Blaster Launcher. Unfortunately, Andrea is not the most accurate of our soldiers, and that translates to her state as a MEC Trooper as well, so her usefulness with this weapon will not be as high as you might expect. Still, we can equip both the gun and the armor now and unlock our next achievement.
The Electropulse module allows the MEC Trooper to disable nearby robotic enemies and electrocute organic ones.
And there we go, equipped with a brand new level 3 mech suit, Andrea unlocks the Steel Martyr achievement, and we can now go about giving her an entirely new set of abilities. Now, I'll try to keep this brief. You have seen all of these before with Nicholas, so I think it suffices to say that for the first one we are going with Advanced Fire Control, since landing reaction shots will be important for Andrea's Lone Wolf mission. We will, however, skip the extra damage from vital point targeting in favor of damage control, just to give her a bit of extra damage resistance and make her even tougher to take down. With the Lone Wolf mission in mind, becoming a high cover object with One for All is pretty pointless, so we're going for the Jet Boot module and extra mobility instead. And if you were expecting repair servos for even more health, then I have to disappoint you. We are picking expanded storage, as that gives an extra use to restorative mist instead and also increases ammo capacity, so all in all I consider it more useful for her. Overdrive then unlocks automatically, and finally we are going with absorption fields as the last ability, once again to increase Andrea's survivability, and because reactive targeting sensors would mostly have her shoot at enemies in cover, and again her aim is not the best, so I don't think we would be getting much use out of this. So that's all. Andrea Cook is now a fully upgraded MEC Trooper, and she will get her first taste of combat action in the next mission. Either all by herself or, and I think that is much more likely, as part of the full squad.
Contact detected.
And it looks like that mission is going to be the crash site of a large scout. Probably too many enemies for her to tackle alone, but let's send out our firestorm and see what happens.
We have eyes on the bandit. Nearing strike range.
Okay, and as expected, there is still a moderate alien presence near the crash site. 11 enemy units are a bit too much for the Lone Wolf achievement, I think, so we're going in with the full squad in the next video. For today, we can make the cut in what was a pretty management-heavy episode, but 4 achievements are a great reward for that in my opinion. Also, a bit of prep work is occasionally necessary in this game, and condensing it all into one episode does have its benefits. I think the overall strategy becomes a bit clearer that way. In any case, with a new MEC Trooper, Psi Armor and a UFO crash site waiting for us, we can wrap up today's episode, and if you enjoyed it, then I would of course be happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then feel free to subscribe to help the channel grow, grab some merchandise over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.